So actually, this is our brand new and humble initiative to know about things that are happening in and around our country. Okay, we'll be having in-depth analysis about each single topics. Normally, we study things from a very surface view, but there are some issues that we needed an in-depth knowledge. Actually, from today onwards, we are focusing on our interview too till the last stage of our examination. I hope that if this initiative is successful, like you need not worry about the interview stage, because you will be having a broad 360-degree view analysis about each and every happenings that are occurring in and around our country. Okay, so the very first lecture regarding our talk show is the Masjid Mandir dispute, the very famous, the very notorious, and the very darkest phase in the history of India that is related to this Mandir Masjid dispute. It has been burning in the country since last 500 years, but it took a very violent turn in the past 30 years or so. So you just imagine in a country where around 140 crores of people are living, and millions are still living under poverty, malnutrition, unemployment, increasing suicide rate, communicable and non-communicable diseases. Still, a vast majority of people worries whether there is a temple below a mosque, whether this side belong to Hindus and this side belong to Muslims. I mean, what a waste of time. How much productive energy and the thinking capacity of the youth is being wasted because of the petty political gains the parties in our country are making. Actually, our youth had submitted their brain and thinking power at the feet of these political parties without recognizing that these parties are considering these masses as just vote banks. So, what is the basis of this issue? We'll be understanding everything in detail. How this issue unfolded. We know that Babur was the first Mughal emperor and established the Mughal dynasty in India. Somewhere in Ayodhya, in Uttar Pradesh, in 1528, Mir Baqi, the commander of Mughal emperor Babur, had built a masjid. It was not called Babri Masjid. It was just another masjid. But there is no evidence of construction of a temple for this purpose. Nothing record, no record available that a temple, a Ram temple was demolished for constructing this particular masjid. And surprisingly, there was no evidence connecting this masjid with Babur. There was no evidence connecting this particular masjid with Babur. So it was not called Babri Masjid. But in 19th century, in the beginning of 19th century, a person called Francis Buchanan, he was a surveyor of East India Company. He had conducted a survey and he reported that somewhere from the inscriptions present in the mosque, he found an evidence connecting this particular masjid to Babur, and from that day onwards, we started calling it Babri Masjid. Actually, Hindus knew that as per Hindu mythology, Lord Sri Ram was born somewhere in Ayodhya, but they were confused. Where was the exact location in which Lord Sri Ram was born? They knew that somewhere near this plot where this Babri Masjid is existing is the place where Lord Sri Ram was born. But over the period of generations, people thought that there is an area called Ram Chabutra. That is, like, Chabutra is a native word. It is called Ram Janmastan. This is the area just outside the compound of this Babri Masjid. And people believed that it was this location where Lord Ram was given birth. So they historically conducted ceremonies, reading Ramayanas, and all other idol worshipping kind of thing was happening in this area. But there was also a rumor that this could also be a potential site for birth of Ram. Okay, so but because of lack of evidence, there was communal issues, time and around, like now every now and then there was some or other petty small issues, because these are very close lying areas. but there was no big riots or any kind of bloodsheds reported. But because of these frequent communal tensions, in 1850s, when British was ruling, okay, at that time they had created a rail separating this Babri Masjid and this Ram Janmabhoomi or Ram Chabutra to avoid the conflicts. And things were happening like this. Even then, there was like small petty communal riots and all. But things started becoming worse 2 years before our independence. In 1946, we know about Hindu Mahasabha, an offshoot of Hindu Mahasabha called Akhila Bharatiya Ramayana Mahasabha. They started an agitation for possessing this particular site. This is the elevation of the plan that we had seen before. This is the Babri Masjid. This is the area where Ram worshipping was happening historically, Ram Chabutra or Ram Janmastan. And they started this particular agitation in 1946. 3 years later, I mean 2 years after our independence, they as usual conducted a 9-day continuous Ramacharita reading. Okay, it's a Hindu epic poem. So they were just like a normal ritual, they were conducting this 9-day reading of this Ramcharitmanas. But on the end of it, on the last day, on a chilly winter night of December, when everybody was sleeping, some sadhus, some Hindu sadhus who came for this Ramacharita ceremony, they didn't leave. While everybody was sleeping, they just peeped into Babri Masjid, and just beneath the central and largest dome of this Babri Masjid, they planted some idols of Ram and Sita. Actually, that night was the beginning of the biggest bloodshed that our country had seen, like post-independence. So that happened. The very next day onwards, news started spreading, or they spread the news that miraculously, because of God's intervention, God had planted some idols. It was not planted by human. They spread this news in this way that God himself had miraculously performed a miracle by planting this idol of Ram. That means Ram was born not here but here. Okay, God gave this indication to us, signal by planting this particular idol here, and this is a signal. That means this is the area, not here. This is the area where a Ram Mandir was there previously, and this masjid was constructed by Babur or whoever by demolishing that particular temple. That was the beginning of everything. You can see this is the Babri Masjid. Within that, they have planted this idol. Okay, these decorations etc. came like years after that, but that was the beginning. People came from far away places to see this miracle. Now things were slowly escalating, because you know, in the Hindi heartland where people are not so much educated, especially in those years, people are easily vulnerable for religious tensions. So at that time, this happened, this idol worshipping happened. A Hindu idol was planted within a mosque where regular namaz and normal rituals were happening. So tensions were bound to happen. At that time, the government was being ruled by Jawaharlal Nehru and Vallabhbhai Patel, etc. We know it was the period just after the independence. So Nehru and Patel asked the UP government, because we know Ayodhya is in Uttar Pradesh. The UP Chief Minister Govind Ballabh Pant was insisted by Nehru that immediately this idol should be removed. But this Chief Minister and the government was not having courage to do that. They felt that if we do that now, the small communal tensions will be escalated to riots. So just after that, different parties started claiming this site. Representing Muslims, Sunni Central Waqf Board, they filed a suit in the court, High Court, and after that, this Ramayana Mahasabha, they also filed a suit claiming that this is their site, or that site belonged to Hindus. Soon, this dispute had started taking violent turn, and government locked the Babri Masjid forever. After that, after 1949, Babri Masjid was never opened to Muslims for their conducting their prayers and all. So after that, after like all the decades passed, on each decade, new parties started claiming this site. In 1959, a Hindu religious organization called Nirmohi Akhara. Actually, this organization was having the administrative control of the North Indian temples. They started being a party to this case. After so many years, in 1964, a Sangha Parivar institution called Vishwa Hindu Parishad was born. They became another party. They informed the court that they are representing the deity himself, Ram Lalla. Ram Lalla means baby Ram or infant Sri Ram. Okay. So they represented deity. So there was 4 parties: Sunni Waqf Board, then this Ramayana Mahasabha, Nirmohi Akhara, and Vishwa Hindu Parishad. After that, years again passed. In 1980s, this Vishwa Hindu Parishad launched a new movement to reclaim the site for Hindus. So things were becoming worse from that particular year. And you know that the present ruling party of the country, Bharatiya Janata Party, was born in 1980s as part of this particular Ram Janmabhoomi agitation. You know, just imagine the power of communal vote bank politics. Because of this single particular thing, BJP was, as an institution, as an organization, as a political party, was born, and they were slowly capturing different states by claiming as the forefathers of this Ram Mandir. Okay. So BJP was formed. They became finally the political face of this particular Ram Mandir campaign. As part of this, in 1990, the then BJP national president L.K. Advani started a Ratha Yatra for spreading the message of Ram Mandir, for awakening all Hindus to the thought that Ram Mandir belongs to Hindus. Babri Masjid is constructed on the site where a Ram Mandir was there historically, and they have demolished this particular site. His advocacy was plain and simple. If Muslims is having an Islamic atmosphere in Mecca, if Christians is having Vatican, then why it is wrong for the Hindus to expect a Hindu atmosphere in Ayodhya? He was supposed to travel 10,000 kilometers, covering 10 states. Wherever he went, there was lots of bloodshed, communal tensions, and lots of people lost their lives. And when this particular Ratha Yatra reached Bihar, the Bihar government arrested L.K. Advani, but the Ratha Yatra did not stop there. The Kar Sevaks, or the followers of Sangha Parivar, they continued their march and they tried to demolish or attack Babri Masjid. But the UP police and the paramilitary forces started firing on them, and many hundreds of Kar Sevaks lost their life. That was the beginning of first bloodshed. At that time, the central government was ruled by VP Singh. He was supported by BJP to get majority seats. Because of this incident and because of the firing at Kar Sevaks, BJP withdrew support for the VP Singh government and the government collapsed. The central government lost its majority and collapsed. Soon after that, elections were conducted at the national level, and in UP was also, the assembly elections was also, like, it was a time for assembly elections as well. In both these elections, BJP captured UP Legislative Assembly from Congress, and in the Lok Sabha also, in the national election, BJP came as the second party just after Congress. The government was formed by Congress in the as the central government, but BJP won the second number of seats, because actually, you just imagine, this party was born 10 years before in 1980s, and it was having 1 or 2 seats. In just 10 years, it became the second majority party in the parliament. And finally, just after 2 years, in 1990, the previous incident happened, the firing at Kar Sevaks and all. As a normal ritual, in the Ram Chabutra area or in and around the area of Babri Masjid, in 6th December, another usual meeting was called for celebrating the idol worship kind of thing and normal Ramayana reading and all. But there was an unusual number of participation. Around 150,000 BJP and Vishwa Hindu Parishad members or Kar Sevaks participated in that particular thing, in that particular meeting. BJP national leaders like L.K. Advani, Murali Manohar Joshi, Uma Bharati, and others made their speech with provocative statements. People became so excited and agitated to the tune that by around 12 o'clock, around 1,50,000 people torched into this Babri Masjid. They scaled the domes of Babri Masjid. They already had improvised tools. They were prepared. Within a matter of 5 hours, by the time of 5 p.m., the Babri Masjid just became a dust. So this was the kind of things that happened in that particular area, and they started celebrating. I don't know what was they celebrating. Who is the winner? Who is the loser in this communal game? Only innocent people lost their lives because of this petty political game. Soon the site was cleared. Babri Masjid just became a dust. In that particular site, this Karsevak on the same day after 5 p.m., they cleared the site and they created a makeshift or temporary temple, which is this one. The consequences were loud and visible. People started burning effigies of the politicians who either enacted or who advocated for this miscreant activity. 10 days later, central government appointed a commission called Librhan Commission. Actually, that was for namesake. This commission investigated for around 20 years and found nothing. They just named some people like Advani and others as culprit, but nobody were punished. Nothing happened. He just said that he was given no support from government or any administration. And it was the longest investigating administration, investigating commission in the history of India, but no concrete output came because of that. Godhra riots. These things happened in 1992. That Babri Masjid demolition happened in 1992. The consequences were continuing even after 10 years. In 2002, we know about the Gujarat riots or the Godhra riots, but many people don't know what is the root cause behind this Godhra riots. It was the Babri Masjid demolition. Around 50-60 Karsevaks were returning from Ayodhya in Sabarmati Express. Suddenly at Godhra, few anti-social elements marched into this particular train and burned these Karsevaks alive in that particular train. But things did not stop there. In the very next day itself, huge widespread riot were visible not only in Gujarat but in different parts of the country wherever Muslims and Hindus lived close by. Suddenly neighbors became enemies. Hundreds and thousands of people lost their lives in Godhra riots, and around 1,50,000 people lost their homes and they escaped fearing their lives because there was immediate threat to their lives. So people escaped that particular site. So that was continuation of this Babri Masjid demolition. In 2003, to settle this dispute and all, one of the High Court in India ordered the Archaeological Survey of India to dig deep in the site, to dig deep till you find something, to find some remnants of any temple out there, whether there was a Ram Mandir existed in that particular site. They had conducted an in-depth study. They found something at least. They found some building that was a huge building beneath the site of Babri Masjid, but Archaeological Survey of India couldn't connect that to a Ram Mandir. They found something in the Nagara architecture, but they were sure of one thing, that was not a Muslim structure. That was a non-Muslim structure, but they were not sure whether it is a temple or any other structures like that. So that was some inconclusive report came from Archaeological Survey of India. After that, in 2010, even after 2003, in over the years, hundreds and thousands of cases were filed regarding this thing. In 2010, Allahabad High Court gave a verdict that 2/3 parts of this particular disputed land should be given to Hindu parties and 1/3 of the part should be given to the Muslim parties. Actually, that was illogical. Just to settle the dispute, they had made this decision. So Supreme Court stayed that particular verdict of Allahabad High Court. Time passed and the historic landmark verdict of Babri Masjid Ram Janmabhoomi dispute came in 2019. In 2019, the bench headed by Justice Ranjan Gogoi, he proclaimed that this particular site, based on the Archaeological Survey of India evidences and other evidences, this site belongs to Hindus. So immediately a temple trust must be created for constructing or reconstructing a Ram Mandir at the disputed land, and Muslims or Sunni Waqf board must be given 5 acres of land somewhere in Ayodhya, but not at this site. So government did not waste a second. 2019, towards the 2019 end, this verdict came. In the February 2020 itself, government had started works towards the construction of Ram Mandir. They created a trust known as Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirtha Kshetra Trust to reconstruct the Ram temple there. And we can see our Honorable Prime Minister laying the foundation for the proposed Ram Mandir at that time. So this model was also given in public domain on that particular day itself. And Sunni Waqf board was given a site called at Dhanipur in like around 25 kilometers away from the exact position of Babri Masjid. So actually that masjid is not yet commissioned now. Actually they are telling that they are not having that much fund to create a spectacular structure. So that is not yet accomplished now. Anyway, so that was regarding the controversy of Babri Masjid or Ram Janmabhoomi dispute. Now let us see in a very positive angle. The controversy is over now. What is the Ram Mandir and what are its special features? Actually, this is a 100% Indian project. Why I say like that? Because the materials that we used for this construction, the overseeing bodies, the experts and sculptors who were part of this particular project, all were Indians. And we have constructed this particular temple in the Nagara style of architecture, and the traditional construction techniques were employed for creation of this particular temple. No steel or iron rods were used in the construction of this temple, because if you are constructing, normally we know that within the concrete we will be having iron bars or steel rods for giving strength to that particular temple. But the problem is that iron is liable to oxidation and it could rust, and that will reduce the stability and strength of the building. And maximum lifespan for a building which is constructed using iron bars within the concrete is 200 years. We wanted this temple to last at least 1000 years. So we have completely used stones from different parts of the country to construct this temple without using a single steel bar. We have used the expertise of all the IITs, NITs and all the engineers and all the institutes of India to construct this particular site. Now we will see some of the specialities of this structure. We can see this is the construction phase. This was made in Nagara architecture. The most expert temple sculpturing people was invited and they were given job roles, different job roles for sculpturing, for doing the artistic works, for carving of the marble, granite and all. And the construction was happening day and night. Around 4,000 people, including close to 500 craftsmen, were involved in this particular construction, and they have completed the ground floor in just 2 years. See, just like a Bahubali said, right? So that much spectacular it is. It is becoming the third largest temple in the world once it is completed. Only ground floor is completed now, just for the idol consecration ceremony or Pran Pradishta ceremony. Last day it was opened, but 2 more floors are yet to be completed. Once it is completed, it will be the third largest temple in the world and obviously the largest temple in India. This is the pic of the inauguration day and happy faces. And you see the kind of celebrities that was invited for this thing. It was like Karan Johar's birthday party. All Bollywood celebrities. And one thing I found very strange is that only those who have given big hits recently was invited. I don't know why. Only the like mass like crowd pullers are invited. Okay. So this is a kind of politics. For every action they are emphasizing the vote bank. Like if these people are invited, these people are having the support or fan following of crores of people. So they were invited. And this is the sacred Ram Lalla deity or the infant Ram idol that was placed inside the Garbhagriha of this Nagara architecture temple. Now, this temple was envisioned as a pan-Indian structure. The materials were collected from different parts of the country, and each of the caste of Hindus, we know that there are hundreds of castes within the Hindu religion. most of the caste were allowed to contribute bricks. They went to temple, they had done some pujas, and each caste contributed at least one brick for constructing this temple. And these bricks which are used in the construction of Ram Mandir are known as Ram Shilas. We can see inscription of Sri Ram was placed in, was made in each of these bricks. And there are features even for the specialties for the foundation of this building. Soil from around 2500 sacred regions of India. That means 2500 temple sites were visited and soil from these regions were collected. More than like hundreds of rivers, water from hundreds of rivers were used for the foundation laying ceremony. So that is one specialty. Then Nepal has contributed 2 stones which is known as Shaligram stones. What is Shaligram stone? In Hindu mythology, Lord Vishnu is said to have taken the form of Shaligram stone to defeat the demon king Hayagriva. So on the memory of that, that means this stone is having divine properties. Okay, so this stone was taken from Nepal. Actually, this belonged to the Gandaki river in Nepal. I mean, not only in Gandaki river, in most of the Himalayan rivers, this particular stone is available. And this particular stone was brought in trucks and all using cranes. And this particular stone was used to construct or sculpt the Ram Lalla deity. This person called Arun Yogiraj is the sculpture of this particular deity from this Shaligram stone of Nepal. And the story of Ram is not complete without Sita and Ravan. Actually, in India, I guess there is more fan following for Ravana than Lord Sri Ram. I don't know why. So Sita Devi was taken to Ashokavadiga in Sri Lanka. Actually, this is the exact place where like Sita Devi was kept, and this area is now known as Sita Elia Mountain. One particular stone from Sita Elia Mountain was handed over to Indian High Commissioner by Sri Lankan government to ensure their participation to as a remembrance of this particular episode in Ravan battle and all. So that was also used. Then remaining materials, the major materials that are used in the construction of this Ram Mandir is the marbles and granites from Rajasthan and the South Indian regions. You can see this light colored marble and this pink sandstone. The properties is that these are easily carvable. We can, without much difficulty, we can carve the sculptures in these two stones. One is marble and one is a sandstone. And we have taken the major construction material or granite from Tamil Nadu and Telangana. We know that there are like numerous like doors and kind of windows for this particular structure, and that was made of high quality teak wood from Maharashtra. Okay, so this is an extra knowledge, like we'll be getting high quality teak wood from Maharashtra. So that is one thing that was used for pillars and the door frames and door works, etc. Then inside this temple complex, we are having its own sewage and water treatment plant and independent power station, and the expert institutes in India like National Geo Research Institute, National Institute of Rock Mechanics, etc. were like roped in for giving expertise, because this particular structure has to withstand earthquake, floods and all. So it was tested for everything. It will be, as per our estimation, it will be lasting for around 1000 years. So that is one thing. So this is the construction phases. More than 4000 workers and close to 500 craftsmen were employed in different phases of this work. And like they expect around 2 lakh pilgrims per day. 2 lakh pilgrims footfall is anticipated in this particular temple complex per day. So we are planning it as a tourist destination as well. Okay, so that is one thing. Then they have studied around 500 temple across India for creating a like masterpiece in Ram Mandir, and it is having a huge lightning arrestor to save that particular temple from lightning, because many temples in India historically was demolished or destroyed due to lightning attack and all. And around 100 events from Valmiki's Ramayana is engraved in the walkways in and around the Ayodhya temple. And Ayodhya was actually a small town. It was having some dirty streets kind of thing. Like when you visit Taj Mahal, around that also we can see some dirty streets, some petty shops and all. But Ayodhya was massively transformed because of this thing. You can see beautiful 4-lane roads and Surya Stambhas on the road to this particular Ram Mandir. So that will be glowing like sun during the night. And some other interesting facts about this Ram Mandir is that it is having a Singh Door or lion gate as an entrance gateway. Then within this particular temple complex, though this particular temple is situated in close to 3 acres, less than 3 acres, close to 2.77 acres, the entire area government purchased was around 70 plus acres, close to 77 acres. And within this entire temple complex, they are having small temples dedicated to Maharshis like Valmiki, Vashishta, Vishwamitra, Agastya, etc. So that is one thing. And Nagara style of architecture that we have already discussed. Then we know that in Nagara style of architecture, there are numerous mandaps. In Ram Mandir also, there are Reng Mandap, Nritya Mandap, Kirtana Mandap, Guna Mandap, Prarthana Mandap, and many mandaps. So here there will be musical concerts, dance practices kind of thing that will be happening. So this is the Ram Mandir. It is having 3 floors. Ground floor is completed. In the ground floor, we'll be having, in the main Garbhagriha, we'll be having the infant Rama, that baby Sri Ram, in the infant form itself. Because and one more thing, like beside that particular infant Rama, there is no idol for Sita Devi, because Ram is infant. At that time, Sita Devi is not there. So in the first floor, when it will be completed, there will be Ram Darbar. Okay, in that there will be a proper adult Sri Ram and Sita Devi's idol will be kept, and this is the structure. Now, and one more interesting fact is that the total estimated budget of this particular project is 1,800 crores, and no single amount was taken from the government budget. It was all contributions of devotees and corporates and others. So that is one thing. So this is the spectacular Ram Mandir complex. So it is having a Nagara style of architecture, and 250 versus 250 versus 380 feet is the dimension of the entire complex. It is having 3 floors. Each floor is having 20 feet high, and it is having 392 pillars and 44 gates. So this is the majestic structure. So this is about the temple. Actually, we are happy that we got an important and spectacular tourist destination, but we cannot forget the kind of damage this particular dispute had brought in for the secular fabric of the nation. How many thousands of people lost their lives? How much hatred that this particular dispute had created among the Indian population between Hindus and Muslims, and how much quantum of energy of our youth is wasted in this process. So let us take a pledge not to hate each other in the matters of religion. Let the religion be a personal devotion that connects you and your God, if you are a believer. And it should not be associated with any religious places, and we should not fight in that particular thing, and we should not be nabbed by any parties for vested interests like vote bank politics. So we'll wind up this discussion here. We plan to have these kind of lectures. Like for example, we are having issues like Lakshadweep Maldives issue. Okay, so we'll be planning the 360-degree analysis about each and every issues that are revolving around India and its politic and socio-religious backgrounds. Fine.